Hey guys, Jesse from Fulla Strength and Conditioning here with tip number 24 of my 90 fitness tips in 90 days. This one here is going to be pretty fitting that I think, because it's something that a lot of people can respond and also relate to. I'm going to talk about the mid-morning and the mid-afternoon crashes. So those time periods are generally where most people start to sort of lack a bit of energy and just sort of hit the wall, for lack of a better term. So there's a couple of strategies that you can implement to try and overcome them and prevent them being so massive in your life. So one of the big things that I've sort of taken away over my journey as a personal trainer is that people's tolerance to caffeine is actually quite low. So what I mean by that is when people have a coffee, the caffeine hit that they normally would receive becomes more diminished. It loses its potency or its effect. And that's one thing that you can use to give yourself a bit of a buzz and a bit of a lift is a coffee. But some people, they become immune to the effect of caffeine just because their body has adapted to the regularity and the dosage of it. So this is something that I've actually incorporated in my life, and I've found a pretty good, a positive effect from it. I used to habitually every morning get up and have a coffee with my breakfast. Now I don't. I just have my normal breakfast as I would, and then I'll save my coffee, my first coffee for the day, until I'm actually just having my very first one right now. It's 11:20 in the morning. So you don't have to wait until 11:20, but my tip to you would be to hold off at least initially. So rather than getting up, having a shower, having your breakfast, having a cup of coffee as your normal, try and leave the coffee until mid-morning. So maybe you have your coffee in your car on the way to work. Maybe just hold off until you get to work before you have that coffee. So that way the body can actually naturally wake itself up and get itself into sort of those gears where it needs to be, rather than just going from zero. I'll have a caffeine hit and that'll get me to third gear, rather than just sort of waiting for the body to get there on its own natural timeline. So that's tip number one. That'll hopefully reduce your overall coffee intake as well. A lot of people drink 3, 4, 5, 6 cups of coffee. That more 4, 5, 6 cups of coffee is probably a little on the high side. My recommendation, obviously, it's going to come down to your lifestyle and what you're actually using it for. Some people use it for taste. For me personally, I use it to give me a bit of a boost. So that's the reason I personally have coffee. If you reduce the total number of cups of coffee, your body will hopefully become not resistant, what's the word I'm looking for? Become more sensitive to caffeine. So you reduce the total intake, and then if you spread that out at different intervals, it's going to hopefully give you a bigger effect and a bigger buzz or boost. Okay, so that's tip number one. Another way that you can prevent those mid-morning or mid-afternoon crashes is by changing your food choices. So what I mean by that is, if you get that bit of a drop, what most people do, as the energy levels start to diminish and start to decrease, they'll go and grab something sweet. And what that does, it gives them that lift. It's got that sugar in it, so they get that little bit of a buzz. They got that energy, and then it comes back down. So it has that yo-yo effect. We're low, we have a sugary hit, we come up, and then it drops back down. So generally speaking, with those sweets, the chockies, things like that, they have a very high GI, so that's the glycemic index. Their sugars and their energy, they get released into the body and the bloodstream very quickly. It's like cordial. If you've ever given red cordial to a child, they go berserk. They become really energetic, and then you'll see they crash later in the day. They'll have no energy. Similar sort of effect for us adults. So you have something sweet, you get that energy buzz, it wears off very quickly, and then you're sort of back to square one. A way you can prevent that and overcome it is by changing and improving your food choices. So one thing that you can replace straight away with your sweets is fruit. It'll give you that same sweetness that you may be craving, but without the massive sugary hit. Yes, it has natural sugars in terms of fructose, but it's going to get you close to your daily intake of fruit, and it's also going to give you that bit of a buzz, and without the extra calories. So that's the key here, is it's not as calorie dense as, say, a chocolate bar. Okay, so that still makes sense? If it doesn't make sense, guys, please comment below. I'll happily clarify things with you. But yeah, rather than having something that's both sugary and fatty, which is very easy to consume in high quantities, just change it to maybe something that's still sweet, like a piece of fruit. Okay. This also comes back down to carbohydrates as well. So some people are very, some people are carbohydrate tolerant, some people are very intolerant, or they respond better or worse to carbohydrates. Incorporating some more protein into the day is a fantastic way to keep you feeling fuller for longer. So protein, it does two things. It increases your thermic effect of feeding. Okay, so it basically means you're burning more calories to actually break it down than you would for a carbohydrate or a fat. And it's going to fill you up for longer. Protein is a lot more filling than a carbohydrate source or something sugary. So if you think about how many pieces of bread or pasta or bits of rice you'd be able to have in comparison to, say, steak, chicken, eggs, things of that nature that are protein, it's not as much. So you won't be able to have as much protein, but it's going to fill you up for a longer period of time, which is what you want. You want to keep that fullness, that energy level for a longer period of time, so you don't have those big peaks and troughs. We have more of that sort of steady grade of energy release through the day. So I hope that makes sense, guys. If it doesn't, please comment below. If you got some value out of this video, if you found you got a piece of information, a little nugget, something that you can incorporate into your life, I'd really appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up, or at least share it forwards to a friend who you think could benefit from it as well. I want to get this information out to the broader public and community so we can get people eating healthier, getting that body that they want, whether it's becoming leaner, more defined, increasing strength levels, or putting on a little bit of muscle. Okay? Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate your time. All right, until tomorrow, choose wisely with your foods. Bye-bye.